AITA for leaving a vacation I planned for my girlfriend after her friends showed up. My girlfriend, Sarah, female, 29, and I, male, 28, have been dating for 5 years, and I wanted to go on a vacation with her to celebrate. I planned the trip for several months. Of course, I shared my plans with her and decided on skiing, snowboarding, other winter activities and co. The activities seemed perfect, and I was looking forward to this for months because I wanted to propose to her at the end of the trip. 5 days before the trip, Sarah dropped the ball on me that she invited 2 of her friends to meet her there. I was upset because I wanted to spend one-to-one time with Sarah for our anniversary. I feel like it was plain and clear that this was a trip for just us. Even though I expressed my concerns, Sarah insisted that her friends already made plans to come and won't back out. I decided to accept this because there was no way for me to force her friends to not come. I wish I fought more on this. I figured we could make some changes to our plans, and I would still be able to propose to her privately. Sarah essentially blew me off for her friends and we didn't get any private time. After 3 days of being in second place, I decided to leave the trip and head home. I told Sarah why I was leaving, and she was upset. She told her friends about my decision, and I was ganged up on. They said we were all having a great time. She thinks I'm being a jerk for making her pick between her friends and me, even though her friends weren't invited in the first place. I never had personal issues with her friends prior to this trip. I never made Sarah pick between me or her friends because everyone needs friends outside of a relationship. I'm at home now and thinking about everything. I have a day to myself before Sarah comes home, so at least I get to relax a bit. Sarah and her friends think I'm overreacting and think I ruined the trip. I think Sarah was disrespectful and rude to me by ruining the purpose of this trip and having her friends gang up on me. Am I the idiot for leaving a vacation I planned for my GF after her friends came along? Edit. This was a planned anniversary, romantic trip. I was clear that we have plans for just the 2 of us. We've been on other anniversary trips together without her friends there. We did discuss marriage beforehand, so it's not like a proposal wouldn't be out of the blue. Minor update. My friends are here at the house and they have been running potential interference, just in case her friends try to bombard and harass me. They've been great and I'm so glad to have them. Minor update number 2. None of Sarah's friends came by the house or harassed me last night, which is good. Sarah hasn't come home yet. I figured out what I want to say and have it written out. Update. I decided that I wanted to end this entire relationship. I packed my important belongings like my passport and clothes, and arranged with my best friend to crash at his apartment until I can find my own. Usually when small issues happen in a relationship, it ties into a bigger issue of that relationship. The main reason why I decided to break up is because I realized that her friends will always be closer to her than me. Sarah has favored her friends over me and blown off some of our plans for her friends more than once. I was lying to myself for years because I didn't want to face reality yet. I had hoped she would change, but this trip really opened my eyes that I will always be in third place to her. I expressed my feelings multiple times, and Sarah promised she would change. And she didn't. Sarah came home late yesterday. I said I have a lot to get off my chest and I want to get through my notes before she talks or tries to interrupt me. The first question I asked Sarah was how she thought the trip went. She said we all had fun and it was memorable. I shouldn't have to feel like the third wheel in my own relationship, especially on a trip that I planned. My next question was, why did you invite your friends in the first place? You knew this was an anniversary trip to the US. She talked about the trip with her friends since the beginning, and they had never been to co. She thought it would be a good idea to allow them to come just so they can have fun and co with us. I followed up with my lack of knowledge of her friends coming along until days before. It's one thing if they came and did their own activities, but it's another thing that every activity became a group activity. I signed up for a monogamous, not poly relationship. My last question was, did you know that I was going to propose to you? Sarah said she didn't know at all. The thought never occurred to Sarah that I was going to ask. She claimed that she wouldn't have invited her friends to come along if she knew, but I responded that it would ruin the surprise if I told you. Sarah begged me to stay with her and believes we can work everything out. She didn't want me to throw 5 years away after this one bad trip. I listened to her promises to change for years regarding her friends, but nothing happened. I ultimately left Sarah with this. It's clear that there isn't enough room in your heart for your BF and your friends. As much as I love Sarah, I can't stay in a relationship where I'm not respected enough. I left Sarah in the house by herself and I drove off to my friend's place. I'll figure out how to get my name off the lease and I'll plan to get the rest of my belongings. As for the ring, I will return it this weekend. You're the idiot. This is not a valid reason for someone to end a relationship and your immaturity really shows. You need to take some time to yourself and grow up. Not the idiot. Glad you found the strength to see yourself as always coming in second, or third, as the case may be. I think you did the right thing. Maybe she will grow up someday or find someone that she actually cares enough about to put first. You will, there's no doubt. You seem to be an intelligent and well thought out kind of guy. Do you think Sarah was wrong for inviting her friends? Let me know in the comments. Now, AITA for not wanting to sign away my rights. Look, I know this is my choice, and I have a right to say no, but right now it feels like the rest of the world doesn't agree. Honestly, I, male, 26, didn't know this woman that well when we first met through a dating site. She was 35 and according to her profile was single, never told me she was married. We went out on a few dates for 4 months until she told me she wasn't interested anymore. I later found out it was because her husband was getting suspicious and she needed to cut her losses. But a few months later she contacted me again and told me she was pregnant. It hadn't been that long since we slept together and she confessed everything. Her husband still didn't know yet because she wanted to find out who the father was first. We did the prenatal paternity test and confirmed her baby is also mine. She had to tell him after that and it was a poop show. He wanted to speak to me and called me crazy. She got him to leave me alone after telling him I never knew about her being married. We were both lied to by her. They're apparently trying to work things out, but here's the thing. Her husband wants me completely out of the picture and is willing to adopt my baby if I terminate my parental rights. He doesn't want me in their lives at all and this is his only condition or he's divorcing her and taking their 2 kids. Don't know if he can actually do that, but she's begging me to do this or it'll completely break their family. Neither of them are considering that this is my child too and I want to be in my child's life. I said I would not and it's causing all these problems. She's called several times telling me how badly this is hurting her family and her kids are hurt and confused because her husband's temporarily moved out until this condition is met. She feels guilty for doing this to them but says she wants to fix her mistakes and make their marriage work if I could just do this. Plus to her, it's a sweet deal for me since I won't ever have to raise this baby or be responsible financially. I don't see it that way. I want to be a dad to my son. But it feels like what I want is hurting everyone else, like her kids. My close friends who know all this get I want to do right by my kid. But feel I should walk away from this messy situation as it'll always be a part of my life if I choose to be involved and it's possible if her husband is willing to adopt my son after birth. He'll have a good life. Nobody else in my life thinks me being in my son's life is a good idea and I don't know if it really is such a bad thing. She's due in 2 months and I don't know what to do. Am I the idiot? Update. It's been a while since I posted this and a lot has happened since then. And by a lot I mean I finally became a dad. My son is healthy and beautiful, the most beautiful baby I've ever seen. One of the best things to ever happen to me honestly, despite the drama. Thank you everyone who was helpful and encouraging in this situation. It felt good to know even with what everyone else was saying. I had a right to say no to my ex's demands and I'm not the one at fault for what happened. Several of you had suggested I talk to her about switching it around so that I could ask about getting full custody instead of being cut out if her husband had such a problem with me being around. Was a great idea and I feel pretty stupid for not thinking about it myself. So here's what happened. I decided to try again and contact her husband because throughout this whole time he was refusing to speak to me. But I just wanted to see if I could get through to him as a last resort. He agreed for us to talk and I was shocked to find out he'd actually changed his mind about accepting the baby 2 months ago, before I made the post. Originally, he did have the condition that he'd only take her back and adopt my son if I wasn't in the picture, but decided he didn't want to raise another man's baby. So she lied to me about him still having this condition and this was just her attempt to try to fix everything even though he was planning on going through with the divorce. He was pretty mad about what she was doing too, so he was kind of on my side about it. Did get a lawyer involved and had another talk with her as well after he spoke to her pretty much saying he'd never take her back no matter what she did at this point. That got her to see trying to keep me out wasn't going to do anything. I brought up the full custody thing to see if that was something she wanted and she agreed. To her there was no point in having my son full-time with this whole divorce going on and she doesn't even have her own place. He moved back into their house with kids and she ended up leaving. Going through with my attorney, I was able to establish paternity after my son was born so that I'd be legally recognized as his father instead of her STBX. As of right now, he's with me full-time but she still comes by to visit. Her life is a total mess right now with the divorce and she's still pretty bitter towards me about it. It's not perfect but I'm just so happy having my son in my life. Holding him for the first time, it made all the struggles worth it. It's definitely overwhelming doing it mostly on my own. But I don't regret how things played out. So thanks for the support and advice. It really helped make a difference when I couldn't see a way out of this without feeling like I was doing something wrong. Not the idiot. Congratulations, Dad. Raising a child is everything. It will take you to every end of the emotional spectrum and everywhere in between and it will still be something you wouldn't trade for the world. Stay strong. And remember that our strengths come from when we feel our weakest. And always have a lawyer at the ready, and keep documentation and plenty of photos and receipts to show everything you do and to help set boundaries and make this work the best it can for you and your little one. Do you think you made the right choice? Let me know in the comments. Now, AITA for cutting off my entire family since they don't like my son. I, female, 25, have a 6-month-old son. His father is deceased. His father's family don't want anything to do with him and my own family, minus my dad, have told me that they don't want anything to do with him either. I've read and heard enough to know that I shouldn't expect anyone to help me and that my kid is my own responsibility, so that's how I've been dealing with everything. I work from home so I don't really need a babysitter for work or anything either. I'm okay to be edge. I'm still dealing with grief and I'm kind of lonely, but every time I talk to anyone they always remind me that they don't want to deal with the baby. For example, I sent my sister a funny post and before reacting to the post she sent me a warning text saying that this doesn't mean she'll babysit. I didn't even mention my son. Everyone does this to me, my mother, sisters, friends. They also act like I made a mistake for not terminating after my BF passed, so yeah, I'd rather be lonely. We have a family group chat and although I don't bother texting there after my sisters told me not to send any pics of my son because nobody cares except me, I do read their conversations to feel something idiotic. Well, like how they didn't realize I was in the group chat because you know family group chat, but they were talking about how they have a surprise party planned for my birthday. And I lost it. I burst into tears and immediately called my sister who was with the rest of the family. I asked them what they were trying to accomplish after making me feel like poop for almost a year. She told me to stop being dramatic, but I just kept going. I asked her and the rest of my family why they thought that I'd appreciate the party after months of them not talking to me or my baby. My mom told me that she just wanted me to realize how difficult being a single mother is, but I told her to shut up. I then told them all to leave me the frick alone and don't bother with the surprise party. One sister called me a witch and the others laughed at me, saying that I'm being hysterical and overly dramatic, and they definitely weren't doing the party now, or at least until I apologized. I don't want to apologize though. I don't think I'm the idiot, but my sisters and mother say that I'm overreacting and that this is exactly why I don't have any friends. They say I'm the awe. My dad found out about everything and came over last night and told me to ignore everyone, but I can't stop thinking about this. Am I the idiot? Edit. My BF's family is very religious and don't like the fact that I had a baby out of wedlock. My two sisters are in their mid-late 30s and don't have children for whatever reason. They were supportive when my BF, no I didn't steal him from anyone, was alive, but did make a few off comments about how fertile, young I am and how they're not, etc, etc. I don't know why they switched up, and that's also why I lost it. My parents are divorced and my father is not in the group chat. It's my sisters, mother and stepfather. I'm sorry, I should have made this clear. Wow, I have never felt so supported and loved in a very long time. I wasn't even going to post anything, but I'm so happy I did. I don't know how to explain just how big of an impact everyone's comments and DMS had on me. It was so lovely. Thank you so much for all the offers of friendship and more. So as of a few weeks ago, I moved in with my father. Being alone with my son had me going crazy. The loneliness was literally killing me. I needed help and I am no longer ashamed to admit it. My dad made the offer. I work Monday to Friday and have the weekends off, and well, I've been following everyone's advice and signed up for a mommy and me thing nearby. It was nerve-wracking, but so many moms were so friendly and came up to me themselves. I got 3 numbers and they're all inviting me to a dinner party. They're really sweet despite being at least 5 years older than me. They've sort of adopted me, lol. Their words, not mine. I'm also going for walks after work. My dad and son come along sometimes. Me and my dad also cook together and we make some pretty neat stuff for his girlfriend, who has also been really kind. As for my mother and sisters, I still don't know why they dislike me and my baby so much. But I took that step and left the group chat. This might sound ridiculous, but it was really hard. I even shed a tear. But I did it. They haven't spoken to me since. I contacted my in-laws one last time. But his parents said they were willing to meet. They won't try and take him from me, but my dad got me a lawyer just in case. I'm meeting them this weekend, and depending on how it goes, I will let them see my son eventually. Finally, I saw a doctor and I've been diagnosed with PPD. I'm currently seeing a therapist that was recommended to me and have started a treatment plan. My son, father and his GF have been my biggest supporters in him trying to be better for me, but them as well. I've also been missing my fiance a lot these days, but his memory is kind of calming. It hasn't been very long, but I'm already seeing improvements in my life. It's crazy how making my original post kickstarted this change. Thank you so very much for everything. Edit. Thank you so much for all the nice comments and messages. I'm trying to read them all, but there's too many and I cannot keep up, haha. I've shed a few tears as well. The meeting with my in-laws went well and my fiance's mother cried a lot and said she was so sorry. I didn't give too many details, but I did show them pictures of my son. They still won't be meeting him till a lot later and without me, but it's progress. Also, I call my fiance my BF and fiance because, well, he passed away a week before proposing to me. I found the ring and his friends told me. So although he was never officially my fiance, it's just comforting. And I call my in-laws because it helps with the word count. But yeah, thanks again. Not the idiot. I am so proud of you. You are doing amazingly well. Your dad is a rock star. Now, make sure to bring your dad with you when you meet up with them and record the encounter. There is something fishy going on. I don't trust them not to completely try to screw you over. If it was me, I really would not want to meet them after all of this. They can crawl back under whatever rock they have been living under. Be careful, please. Think it over carefully before you allow them into your life. You are finally getting it back together. You don't need them messing you back up.